Lot to cover for me, so let's just dive right into this. Hello people of YouTube and welcome to the end of May 2016. May 2016 started with a sunrise. Bit of redundant information there, but Signe and I went out to a place called Verdens Ende to shoot this time-lapse. Verdens Ende means the world's end. It's all the way in the south of the Oslo fjord and you have a beautiful sort of view over the sea. And well, we went there at like 3:30 in the morning to watch the sunrise and shoot a lot of the sunrise there. It was gorgeous and definitely worth the only 3 hours of sleeping for. I think it was that weekend that I also shot some footage for a My Beautiful Backyard-like video, which I didn't end up editing and uploading because when I shot it I was in a little bit of a bad state of mind, so not all of the footage is as nice as I want it to be before I start editing. But some of the shots, like the shots you can see here, turned out quite nice in my opinion, so not all of those 2 hours of shooting went to waste. We walked out into the center of Oslo shooting some time lapses for a bit of a project I'm doing with George, link down below, obviously. And we just stumbled across this. Apparently the 1st of May is, what would you call it in
like
English?
Workers' Day.
Workers' Day.
Sort of.
Which is a celebration for the workers,
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know was a thing. A little bit of noise probably. There's a big fountain which I'm looking right at now. Still out filming in Oslo. Signe's over there taking some pictures of the fountain. I am time-lapsing with 2 cameras at the same time, so I'm feeling really professional. Yeah, life is really good. We're gonna visit a coffee shop soon, try to find a place where we can just sit down and chill for a second before we go back out into the busy street, because the parade over there is still going on. It's really, really busy. Good. We are in the harbor place thing of Oslo, just having a sit down.
Aker Brygge.
That. Obviously, cameras are running. We have a very, very nice sky over there, and some very nice sun flares coming from there as well. And there was a huge cruise ship coming by, which was amazing for time-lapse purposes. Time-lapse on the screen right now. It's really, really good. That made me really, really happy. We still haven't found a coffee shop, but we'll do so after this.
Yes.
Priorities. After shooting a whole bunch of time lapses in Oslo, it was time for a confirmation of a cousin of Signe, Lina. A confirmation is, I'd like to describe it as a Norwegian bar mitzvah. Basically, when people here turn 14, they either attend something church related, which I don't know a lot about, or they attend a humanistic camp in which they talk about human rights and equality, all that sort of fun stuff. And after that camp, they gather in a big hall and get diplomas. And that is the official confirmation. Sounds a bit weird, but it basically symbolizes becoming an adult for a lot of Norwegian people. After the big ceremony, we went back to Lina's house with a lot of Lina's family. And there we had a big and very lovely meal with a lot of speeches. It was a very interesting thing to experience for me as a non-Norwegian, as an outsider to this culture. It's not something that I've ever seen before, but it was a lot of fun to be a part of. Then Mr. David Benetti from Austria came to visit. He stayed at my place for 2 nights in Oslo. Then he stayed at another friend he has here in Oslo named Arndt for another night, and then we all went down to Cygnus for the shooting of a big, for now, secret thing. The thing we shot was a promo video for a big project that will be coming up in 2017, so we're doing quite a bit of planning ahead of time, and you will hear more about that later. Now, David Benetti himself is a very good friend of mine, and also one of my biggest sources of recent inspiration. If you look at his channel and you look at my last video, you will understand what I mean, I think. Shortly after the weekend with David went back to Oslo to stay for another few nights, and I stayed with Signe for the 17th of May, which is Constitution Day here in Norway. In 1814, if I remember rightly, Norway got sort of separated and freed from Denmark, and they got their own constitution together with a sort of bond, or whatever you call that, with Sweden. Anyway, 17th of May today means a lot of parades and a lot of cake. Sounds like a good day to me. Favorites of which I have 4 this month, starting with a piece of clothing. A handmade piece of clothing. This jumper was made by Sissel, Signe's mother. Sissel is a skilled knitter and knitted me this beautiful, very warm sweater that I'm in love with this thing. It's a bit sad how warm it is because I can't wear it right now. It's 27 degrees outside. If I go outside wearing that, I will melt and become a puddle in the streets. But I do love it, so expect a lot of me wearing that jumper coming fall and winter. The next favorite is a video, just like last month, but unlike last month, it is not a documentary. It is a music video. It is the music video for Up and Up by Coldplay. Now, I am not a huge Coldplay fan, but as far as Coldplay songs go, this one is quite high up there to begin with, and then the music video to accompany it is art. I can't describe it any differently. It is art. It's beautifully made. It's stunning to see. Just go check it out. Link up there and down there. Take a look. It's very nicely done. My next favorite is a lens. Mr. David Benetti gifted me with 2 lenses when he was here, and I'm very grateful for that. By now you could almost say that I'm collecting lenses, collecting old lenses. And my favorite lens for this month is this weird old 35 to 18mm power zoom lens. It's an electronically zoomed lens. It has 2 buttons on the side which you press to zoom in or zoom out. You can't focus manually, it doesn't have a focus ring. All of the focusing is done electronically in camera, which is quite odd, and it's optically not great. It's a very weird lens. One thing that it does that most photographers are not a big fan of is it sun flares really well, which I am quite a big fan of. The sad thing is that I cannot really use it for video, as my camera doesn't have continuous autofocus and the lens doesn't have a focus ring. So this lens will only be used for weird experimental photography, which I'm getting into as well. I have an Instagram account now. If you haven't checked it out yet, it is Tom Knows What's Up. Link, obviously, down below. I feel like we have a lot of links down below this episode. Right, and then to my very last favorite of this month, and that one is cameras with 35mm sensors. in general, nothing really specific. I shot with a 5D Mark III this month, which was an extreme pleasure. I have been working with my 600D, to which I am talking to right now, as I am pretty much always, for well over 2 years, almost 2.5 years now. So that thing has quite a lot of working hours and quite a lot of my experience in it. But it has an APS-C size sensor, which is fine to begin with. But after shooting with a 5D Mark III, the aesthetic of a full frame sensor, I'm in love and I don't want anything else. Now, I was slowly starting to plan on a camera upgrade, and until I shot with the 5D a few weekends ago, I didn't really care if it was going to be a crop size sensor or a full frame one. But right now, I really do care. The camera I initially wanted to go for is a camera body of about €1,000. It is the Sony Alpha 6300, but that one has a crop sensor. It's amazing, but it has a crop sensor. And as we now have learned, Tom thinks 35mm is superior. So what I'm gonna attempt is to try and save up for something along the lines of an A7S, which is not gonna happen in a bazillion years, but hey, we can try. And that was pretty much it for the monthly review. Now, there is one last thing that I want to mention to you hardcore people that are still watching this late in the video. In about 3 weeks, I am gonna be back home in the Netherlands, which means that my internship here in Norway is over and my summer is about to begin. Now, I do have a resit of an exam which I need to study for and blah 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 blah, but technically my summer will begin in about 3 weeks. Now, with that, I have quite a lot of free time and not a lot of responsibilities, meaning that I have more time for video making and that sort of thing. I feel like some of you might already be seeing what I'm getting at. I'm gonna attempt to do some daily content for about 2 months until my summer is over. I want to start on the last day of my internship and then end on the first day of school next year. The daily content isn't just gonna be vlogs. I'm gonna try to do something along the lines of Liv Bazel's adventure logs, but with a little bit of vlogging and a little bit of narration mixed through. 1 to 2 minute long daily videos. Sounds good, I think, at least. I'm quite excited. Yes, and that is it for the monthly review. Let me know what you think of the daily content idea. And also, if you know a little bit about cameras, discuss with me some stuff about 35mm sensors versus crop size sensors and why I am completely wrong to idolize 35mm sensors. Good. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to randomly push the multi-positive buttons down below, and I shall see you next time. Ciao.